Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to get into something that, well, it takes up a huge amount of our mental energy.
Oh, a massive amount. We're talking about control.
Exactly. And we're doing a deep dive into this paradox of control.
Right. The idea that we spend so much effort trying to manage everything, our jobs, our relationships, these perfect timelines we create in our heads, all just to feel safe.
But here's the thing, and all our sources point to this psychological truth. The more you try to grip life, the more powerless you actually feel.
We've all been there.
Totally. That exhausting cycle of obsessing, forcing things, and then you just end up burned out from trying to manage stuff that was never really yours to control in the first place.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really unpack that paradox. We want to show you why letting go isn't weakness. In fact, it's a very strong path toward alignment and, frankly, ease.
A shift from fear to flow.
That's the goal.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. If forcing life to go our way is so obviously exhausting, why do we do it? What's the root of this constant need for certainty?
It really all boils down to our survival mechanisms. The urge to control, it stems directly from primal fear.
Fear of what, specifically?
Well, it's fear of the unknown, fear of loss, and maybe the most powerful one, the fear of failure. When we feel vulnerable, our mind just clicks into survival mode. We try to impose some kind of order on the chaos, even if that order is, well, an illusion.
When I was going through the materials for this, one definition just jumped out at me.
I think I know the one you mean.
It's that control is not power. The source defines it as panic disguised as structure.
It's perfect, isn't it? That phrase just perfectly captures what's happening in our brains.
It really does.
When you're forcing an outcome over planning, constantly checking in on someone, rehearsing a conversation over and over, you're not coming from a place of strength.
You're coming from anxiety.
Exactly. It's anxiety trying to bend reality to its will.
And that forced control, the pushing, the obsessive thinking, that's what leads directly to burnout, right?
Absolutely. The energy drain is exponential.
You're just fighting against the current.
Constantly. So if control is panic, then what's real power?
That's the question.
Real power is the ability to notice when your mind is slipping into that survival mode, and then making a conscious choice to step out of it. It's about your response, not the outcome.
That distinction changes everything because it shifts the focus from managing the world to managing yourself. But we have to tackle the biggest roadblock here, which is the word surrender. For a lot of people, surrender means giving up. It means defeat or, just being lazy while things fall apart.
That is the #1 misconception. It's why people immediately shut down the idea. They mistake active surrender for just resignation.
So it's not passive.
Not at all. It's an active, conscious choice. It's a strategic move you make to improve your own well-being and your effectiveness, actually.
Okay, so let's get a clear, actionable definition. If we strip away all that baggage, what does surrender actually mean here?
The definition we should work with is this. I trust myself enough to release what I can't control.
I like that.
It's a declaration of self-trust, not defeat. When you choose to surrender, you're choosing flow over force. You're choosing peace over panic. And you're choosing alignment over anxiety.
I hear that, but let me just push back a little for a second. For someone who's, a high achiever, where do you draw the line? If I stop trying to control my budget, isn't that just irresponsible?
That's a great question. A really important one.
Right. If I stop controlling my diet, isn't that just negligence?
Okay, so surrender doesn't mean abandoning effort or responsibility. It means abandoning your attachment to a single, rigid outcome.
And the anxiety that comes with it.
And the anxiety around the process, yes. Discipline and effort are your inputs. Control is when you try to dictate the output.
Can you give an example?
Sure, you can be disciplined about saving your money. That's the effort. But obsessing over global market forces, which you can't control, that's where the panic comes in.
I see.
Surrender is saying, I'll do the work, and then I'll trust the process. It's letting life meet you halfway instead of trying to drag it all the way to the finish line.
That makes a lot more sense. It's about wisdom, not just brute force.
Precisely. You're still doing the work, you're just dropping the struggle.
Okay, so let's talk about the payoff. If we actually manage to do this, to release that grip, what are the immediate benefits? What happens when we enter that flow state?
The shift it's really powerful, and it builds on itself. When you drop the force, there are 5 key benefits that tend to show up almost right away.
Let's walk through them. How do they change our day-to-day?
First, you just make better decisions. Anxiety clouds your judgment, right? It gives you tunnel vision.
Sure.
When your mind is calm, you see the whole picture, so you can make a rational choice instead of a fear-based reaction.
That's huge. I mean, think about a stressful meeting where things go off script. If you're stuck on your plan, you miss the chance to adapt.
Which leads right into the second benefit. You notice opportunities you would have otherwise missed. When you're obsessed with controlling outcome A, you're literally blind to the possibilities of B, C, and D, which might be even better.
And what about our emotions? How does it affect how we react to things?
That's number 3. You stop reacting out of fear. Your actions start coming from a grounded, thoughtful place, not an impulsive one, that builds much stronger relationships.
Number 4.
Your creativity flows. The need for control is the enemy of innovation. When you release that mental pressure, you can access the parts of your brain that come up with new ideas.
Everyone knows that feeling. You struggle with a problem for hours, and the solution comes to you the moment you take a walk and relax.
Exactly. And 5th, and this is the deepest one, your confidence grows. You start to realize you don't need to manipulate everything to be okay. Your confidence becomes internal, not external.
And this all ties back to intuition, doesn't it? All that forcing and worrying is just static.
It's the perfect analogy. Letting go turns down the volume on that noise so your intuition can finally speak. It's a quiet voice. It can't shout over the panic.
So if the ultimate goal isn't control, what is it? What's the highest form of power we get from this?
The real power is what the sources call inner freedom.
Inner freedom.
It's a state where what's happening outside doesn't dictate your state inside. You break that dependency where your happiness requires the world to be perfectly arranged.
And we know control doesn't bring safety. So what do we need to cultivate instead?
You need to cultivate trust. Safety doesn't come from knowing the future. It comes from believing you can handle whatever future shows up.
The sources mention 3 types of trust.
Yes, 3 foundational forms of trust: self-trust, life trust, and process trust.
Okay, let's break those down. Starting with self-trust.
Self-trust is just that. Believing in your own competence and resilience. It's knowing that even if you fail, you trust yourself to learn from it and pivot. I have skills, I can learn new things, I will figure this out.
Right. Then there's life trust. That one feels harder for a lot of people.
It can be. Life trust is the belief that life is fundamentally on your side, even when things look bad. It's the faith that a setback is actually a redirection or a lesson you needed to learn.
And the third one, process trust.
Process trust is crucial for any long-term goal. It's understanding that progress isn't always linear. You have to trust that the work you do today will compound over time, even if you don't see results tomorrow.
So inner freedom is when all 3 of those align. It's the moment you can honestly say, I don't know what's coming, but I know I can handle it.
That is genuine power. That's untakeable. Nothing can fundamentally break you when you have that, because you move from being a victim of circumstance to a master of your response.
Okay, let's make this super practical. For someone listening right now who's just gripped by anxiety, maybe over a relationship or a project at work, what are the concrete steps? How do we start practicing this?
We can start today with 5 gentle, specific methods to just loosen that grip.
Let's start with timing. That's a huge source of stress for me, the feeling of being behind schedule.
That's method 1. Stop forcing timing. The anxiety comes from a deadline that we've probably just made up.
Guilty.
The practice here is to trust that if something is meant for you, it will circle back. You don't have to chase it down and tackle it right now. Give it space.
That's a huge weight off right there.
Okay.
What's number 2?
Method 2 is to loosen your expectations. An expectation is a rigid blueprint for how things must be, and it's a recipe for disappointment.
So what's the alternative to an expectation?
The alternative is an intention. An intention creates openness. An expectation is, I must get this specific promotion by June. An intention is, I intend to grow into a leadership role where I can have more impact.
So the intention allows for many different paths to success.
Exactly. While the expectation only has one path to avoid failure.
Such a simple shift in language, but it changes everything. What about all the noise inside our heads?
Method 3. Observe, don't attach. Your anxious thoughts, your fears. They're like clouds passing in the sky. The practice is to just notice them, acknowledge them, and let them go without grabbing onto them and making them your reality.
And number 4 is about our relationship.
Yes. Let relationships breathe. Closeness and connection grow from freedom, not from control. When you try to control someone, you just push them away.
That takes a lot of courage, though. Letting go feels like a risk.
It does. But trying to control them is the bigger risk because it guarantees friction. And that brings us to the 5th and final method,
Yeah.
It's the ultimate shift. It's about changing the question you ask yourself when you feel stressed. Stop asking, how do I control this?
Just start asking.
Start asking, how do I respond wisely to this? That one change is the essence of emotional mastery.
Wow. So if I'm stuck in traffic, instead of how do I make these cars move, it's how can I wisely use this unexpected 10 minutes?
Precisely. You reclaim your power in the only place you ever truly had it. Your own response.
So to wrap up this whole deep dive, the takeaway feels incredibly clear. Letting go isn't about losing power.
It's about reclaiming it.
Because when you stop forcing things, you create the space for better outcomes to show up. Things you couldn't have even planned for.
When you put all these pieces together, the final thought is pretty simple. When you stop controlling life, you finally get to start living it. With freedom, with clarity, and with an ease that no one can take away from you.
We mentioned earlier that when you stop gripping so tightly, your hands become free to receive. So here's the thought we want to leave you with.
What one thing are you currently gripping so tightly out of fear, a deadline, an outcome, a person, that it's literally preventing you from receiving the peace or the opportunity that's already trying to find you?
Reflect on that choice between force and flow.
Because the moment you decide to drop the rope, you might just find you are in a tug-of-war with yourself the whole time.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope this helps you find a little more freedom in your life. We'll catch you next time.